First question here is, should I stop all my medication and take only natural supplements and meditate and do yoga? Well, of course, absolutely not. Do not stop any of your medication that your doctor or physician has prescribed for you that you have already started taking. You must always consult your doctor before stopping or starting any medication. And if through a session of acupuncture, massage, or anything else, the practitioner has recommended something like herbs and whatnot, ask your doctor if he feels or she feels that it might interfere with the medication you're taking. Oftentimes it doesn't, but you never know. It's better to be safe than sorry. I find that pharmacists are actually quite good at finding out if any alternative therapies or any alternative medication. They are great for figuring out if there's any conflicts with your present medication. Very important not to stop whatever you're taking presently. Again, these are always complementary alternatives. Very important to remember that while you're taking your medication, while you're doing, for instance, if you're doing some cancer treatments or whatnot, it's very important that you continue what is recommended by the doctors who are taking care of you, and doing complementary things like meditation, yoga, qigong, exercising. These are all things that you do along with your regular medication. If you feel at some point with your doctor's permission that you want to come off of any medication, then that's between you and your doctor. Any practitioner of alternative medicine, if they are suggesting that you get off your medication, I would seriously consider not doing that and wonder why anybody would suggest that. So these are one of the things you want to look out for if anybody's recommending that you stop all your medication. You're listening to The Alternatives, brand new show here on CIDI 99.1. I'm your host, Ilia Kavoukis. This is our very first show, and I look forward to spending many more shows with you and interviewing new therapists in their different domains. Earlier I was talking about questions and answers that I often get throughout my practice as a therapist, and I'd like to continue with these questions. Often I get the question of what is the best type of meditation? Meditation is a very personal practice. There are many types of meditation. You can do visual meditations, you can do audio meditations, the list goes on. You can focus on your breathing. You just have to explore the different venues, the different avenues of meditation, and I strongly suggest that you do pick one. Sometimes it's the one that's easiest for you. I mentioned earlier in the show that it's wonderful to just sit for 15 minutes a day and do absolutely nothing. It is mandatory, actually, in our lifestyle today. We're being bombarded with so many things all the time. It just never ends. The stimulation, the computer, the television, the billboards, the traffic. One of the reasons why I moved out here to the townships is because I wanted to be surrounded, actually, with more trees than people. Have the vision of green whenever I opened my windows or whenever I walked outside. Green is a wonderful, calming color. And actually, speaking of color, I've recently done a couple of shows on this station that was with Aurelian Guillory called The Living Color. I don't know if you've heard of them already. There's going to be another one aired on the 27th of August. That'll be the part 3 of the 3-part series that I aired with Aurelian. It was wonderful. We talked about the chakras, the chakras and how they affect our body, and the colors, and how the colors in a room can be very relaxing or stimulating. So curious about your comments and questions about that show. If you heard it or if anything, feel free to email me at ilia@sunshinecenter.ca. Again, on a personal note, what you might be curious what brought me on this path of alternative. I don't come from a past of parents who were brought up in the 60s and were flower children and having patchouli and whatnot in the house. I had none of that. I was born of Greek parents in Montreal. And as you can imagine, the typical Greek family, we were eating meat almost every day. Often using commercial products to clean the home, wasting, not recycling, typical wasting and getting rid of our garbage the way everybody used to in those years. And when anybody got sick, well, of course, what we would do, we would go to our doctor and then the hospital if need be, and listen very diligently to what the doctor said and got the prescription and got the medication and did whatever we were told. I remember eating mounds of white sugar when I was a child. As a matter of fact, if ever I had a sore throat, my mother would come in the bedroom and shove a teaspoon of white sugar down my throat. I think back on that and I cringe at the amount of white sugar and candy that I ate as a child and anybody else that was growing up in those years, the 70s and early 80s. I think just along my evolution, just being exposed and interested in all kinds of new things, I fell upon different books and I was reading different things, and I fell upon one book called The Celestine Prophecy. And when a friend of mine saw me reading that, she says, well, if you're interested in that sort of thing, you need to come to this school that is giving these free lectures on Monday nights called the Natural Health Institute, NHC. I was at the time living in NDG. So I said, sure, why not? And I went into the school and downstairs and listened to my first lecture, and I was blown away. I felt like I had just found this place that will answer all my questions. Of course, I have to tell you, I had a very strong need since I was a child, even now, to help people in every time, in any case. If there was somebody in need, I felt like I needed to be there and help them. And I discovered these wonderful courses. I was taking a course on spiritual psychotherapy 101. I was taking Reiki, reflexology. I just dove into it and fell in love with yoga. This was in the early 90s. And from there, you just start meeting people and they show you one thing and somebody shows you something else. It just opened up my whole life into this whole new domain that, I sort of see that in the past I was, curious about the alternatives and different things, but it was really in that time that I discovered what I really like to do. And that's how I started on this path. And I really look forward to sharing with you all the things that I've learned and people I've met along my path that have studied and practiced now these different therapies and modalities. And hopefully they'll inspire you to take a different path. Thank you for listening to The Alternatives. You have choices. If you want to reach me, you can dial 450-538-1111. I can be reached at the center. Website is sunshinecenter.ca. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.